The curse of the baby face.
There we go. All right. Dude, so I saw Vic's fight, obviously the samurai fights last weekend. How do you think that went and what was your
Well,
reflection?
he and I talked about it, and like a lot of the preparation was really good for that fight, but we realized he mentally got in like eighth gear on like Monday. Like by the time it was ready for him to like mentally really get in gear, he just couldn't really engage. Like his warm up was sharp and stuff like that, but he like as soon as the fight started, Angel and I both said like, "Oh man, like we don't think like Vic's not here. He's kind of like shadow boxing a bit."
Yeah.
And even talking to Vic between rounds, like we are trying to get him to do a bit more and a bit more. But talking to him, I was like, "Oh, like this is a person that's not in the fight." And as a coach, it's not my first time I've seen that. You try to get them to keep coming in, keep coming in. Sometimes like over 5 rounds, like you have the first couple of rounds, maybe get that person back in the fight.
Hmm.
But we saw like his opponent was locked in. He was super ready, and it was just kind of starting to go downhill for Vic at the fourth round. And I knew that guy was going to pick it up in that fifth, and I protected Vic.
Yeah.
He gets it. Like I've thrown in the towel for you at one of your fights. Like it was one of those like shit. Like I spoke to the ringside doctor and like Al and Tamara from the commission. They were all like, hey man, like we know the last time like a coach made a good call like that. And I was like, I mean, I'm trying to do my part.
Yeah.
Vic and I talked about it, man. Like he was like, man, I mentally shit the bed, and like he admitted it in the locker room. And I was like, look, it happens. It was your fifth fight. You hadn't fought in a year. Your first time fighting at home. Like it sometimes creates a different type of like anxiety that you might not be used to.
Yeah.
And he was like and like Monday like all week he's just like bom, bom, bom. But we think that instead of him maybe being focused in like second and third and cruising along, he was just like redlining mentally all week,
Yeah.
you know. And it's something I spoke to him about and a couple other people. I was like, man, Vic, how do you feel when you play video games? He's like, dude, I totally check out, I zone out, I relax. And I'm like, all right, first 3 days of fight week, you should play video games. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like we realized, and like he gets it. He was like, yeah, I can't get too excited for fight week. And I was like, that's it, man. Like it was Christmas week and you had Christmas morning energy like all week.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's super huge. Like a lot of times people that I talk to in the gym and even people here, like I've met a lot of guys here in Thailand that come to Thailand that haven't fought before from their home country and they're having like their first fight in Thailand. And a lot of these guys tell me how nervous they are, like the week of the fight, 2, 3 weeks out. I just tell them, look, if as long as you live in the moment, especially leading up to the fight, because you're not in a fight right now. All the anxiety, all the nerves, that's just you thinking about how the fight's gonna go. What if he hits me with this? What if this happens? What if that happens? If you just live in the moment, you're gonna realize you're totally fine. You're training, you're in the gym, especially the week of the fight, you have nothing to worry about. And when the moment comes in the fight, you just trust yourself, and that's when you use all that extra energy and all like the pent up emotion and stuff like that.
Yeah, the present is very important. And too many people put themselves in a future that's not there yet.
Yeah.
And and that's something I was talking to like Talia about. Like the present is an important place to be. That means that you're ahead of what's behind you. What's behind you is always there, but the present is where you're working on it. And then the present is going to prepare you for what's next. Like there is nothing guaranteed. There is no guaranteed outcome to anything. Like
Yeah.
we don't know what the fuck is going to happen. But the more present you are, the more you kind of put your head down to what you're doing right now, it gets you ready for what happens next. And sometimes like a crazy thing happens, like a fight. And then you find yourself at the end of the fifth round or the third round, and you're just like, well, golly, like that was cool. And
Yeah.
like you celebrate, you enjoy the moment, but then in that moment you're on to like prepare for the next moment. And we
Yeah.
can't get too far ahead to it. And I think like you've done that too before where you get like too far ahead like in the fight sometimes, right?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then you live and you learn it. And you realize after the fight, it's never as bad as you make it in your own head. Like before fights, I know like before some fights, I've been super nervous. After the fight, I was like, dude, I'm totally fine. I'm healthy. I'm not injured. It's not as big of a deal as I made it in my own head. So my last fight, the first one here in Thailand, I felt like probably the least amount of nerves I felt in a fight. But still had like a good amount of nerves. That way I was sharp and stuff like that. But I wasn't over the top or like super nervous before, and I was very calm and collected. Just because I knew no matter what happened, I'm gonna wake up the next day, and whether I'm hurt or not, I'm gonna be able to get through it. So that helps me stay present.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool to hear how you just you jumped in your first fight. We were like, yeah, I'm here. Might as well do this. And like the lead up for that and everything. How did it feel your first time in a Thai locker room? First time. Were you sitting next to your opponent like right before you walked out?
Yeah, yeah, I was. Well, I think I told you this before, but when you walk into the locker room, there's no like red corner and blue corner. It's just
Everyone's in the same room.
yeah, and it's a small room too, and there's like different Thai massage tables laid out, so you could literally be getting a massage right beside your opponent. But I walked in, there's a massive whiteboard up against the wall with all the fights, and then it just had everyone's weight. So I was the only one at like 176 because all the Thai guys and all the other fights were like 130s, 140s. So I knew my opponent was like the biggest guy in the room, and I spotted him. And I was like, all right, there's no one else that'd be my opponent except that guy. So yeah, me and him were like warming up to get like really close to each other, walking by each other the whole time. And then the craziest thing is right before the fight, when you're on deck, they take you out to like the stadium, and then you watch the fight before you, but you and your opponent are basically sitting next to each other, just watching the previous fight. Like literally, like he could like have just reached his hand out and touched me, just super close. And then yeah, that I noticed that here they desensitize the fight. It's not a huge deal when you go to fight. It's all just super casual, like, all right, I'm gonna be homies with this guy afterwards, or it's not like I need to kill this guy. It's more like, all right, this is a sport, and I'm gonna go in there and win via technique, and I'm gonna be better than this guy. So it's a totally different culture of fighting here versus in the U.S.
It really is. Over there, the way they take it, they're like, yeah. I was speaking to my friends on my professional friends. I'm not allowed to call them my homies in a non-professional setting now. But like, I mean, I've never. We were talking about the culture in Thailand and the culture in like even like European places with how they work around Muay Thai and stuff like that. Where I told them like, look, man, for in Thailand, it's like pick up soccer, but
Yeah,
like a bit
it
more
is. Yep.
dangerous and a bit more celebrated. But like that's kind of like their mentality to a lot of stuff out there. Like they'll fight at the drop of a hat. It's
Mhm.
kind of like you see a couple of your friends with a soccer ball. You hey, you guys want to kick this around? Oh, there just so happens to be a boxing ring right there and a stadium and a lot of people down to watch.
Yeah,
And they had a really like they kind of had their minds like open a little bit more about like, hey, that's like the biggest difference between like Americans and Thais. They just are always fighting. It's just a normal thing. We're here, it's a spectacle. It's an event. For like a lot of small fights are not that big of an event. Like, is it a big moment for a person and the individual? Yeah, like that's what it should be. It should be a bit more just like, hey, you're gonna go fight. Be
yeah,
focused, be present, be ready. But like, don't make yourself into something you're not yet. Like, don't make like I don't know, Americans just love shit to be big and flashy and I mean you've seen it like some amateur like you've seen some pretty crazy amateur shows. I have too where I'm like this is a lot of work for some fucking amateurs, man. Like
yeah,
people should be like there should be in every city across the state there should be a ring or a cage set up in a gymnasium and people should just be out there fighting.
yeah.
Like that
Like
would make the
experience.
biggest improvement in combat sports in America is like the more small shows to get people prepared for what the big leagues really are.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of guys that come here, they don't realize that. I don't think they realize at all what the culture is like here. Like for example, there was another foreigner that came to the gym, and the head coach, just went up to him while everyone was hitting pads, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to fight next week?" And the dude like shit himself. He was like, "What? Like I don't want to fight. I'm not ready to do that." Because everywhere else, it's like this big event, and here the coach is like, "Do you want to fight? All right, then you can fight next week." And so there's always opportunity to fight here. I feel like now after being here, I feel a lot more desensitized, especially taking that fight on like 1 day notice. It's like if they ask me to fight next week or in a month, whenever I feel ready, then it's not gonna be like it's not gonna be this huge event. And also fighting without shin guards and throwing full elbows without elbow pads. I feel like when I come back and compete in tournaments next year, it's gonna be even less nerve-wracking because I know I've done way worse here, way more intense, like
Yeah.
professional level.
Yeah. And it's even crazy like how you fought in one of the bigger stadiums out there, like one of the more prestigious venues. And
Yeah.
everyone there is still just like, yeah, whatever, go, fight. Like, whatever, just go do it. Where you go to the fucking T-Mobile Arena here in America, and everyone's like freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, it's totally different. But yeah, I'm gonna be going to another stadium this weekend to watch the one championship fights. Have you seen that card?
Oh, the one that's tomorrow night, or like almost gonna happen for you
Yeah,
guys with
yeah,
like Joe Nottawat.
yeah, Joe. Yeah, there's so many people on that card. Even
Dude, the fight card's insane. I was like, I think I'm gonna have to put it on the. We got a projector and a 4K. We got a screen and a 4K projector here. I was like, I got to put that on the projector tomorrow. That's gonna be too awesome.
yeah, dude, there's so many good fights. And I saw Gabriel Sosa's fighting, and I like met him and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so wild. Like I didn't know that he was Mikey Musumeci's last defeat.
Oh yeah. I saw that like a couple months ago as well. But me and Danny are gonna go and watch those fights live, which is gonna be super sick.
That is such a bonkers card to see live. That is unreal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm super stoked to go watch that live. But I mean I bet watching it there in the freaking on a projector would be super cool too. And and stuff like that. But I
Okay, it's
will,
you can admit it's definitely not as cool as sitting in a stadium in Thailand to watch people fight to the death. That is way cooler.
yeah, that is true.
This
That
is
is definitely
this is
true.
cool for us.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely an upgrade. So that's sick. But I saw you guys posted the new schedule and the new schedule rolled out this week.
Yeah, we started out this week.
How's that been?
I like it. You know, I get to make the fundamentals, like I get to make classes that are fundamentals. Like we just have a few less moving parts to it.
Yeah,
You're getting more reps on more basic stuff.
yeah.
Like I split this week up between like, hey, Monday we have a bit more of a low kick focus. On Wednesday we have a bit more of a body kick focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to have a bit more fun where like today's Thursday pad work is going to be, hey, we're still hitting the same couple elbow reps we built up like over the week. The pad holder is going to make you work on good punches, good kicks, but it's up to you to start placing your elbow. So I still have new people like or like on a new different type of autopilot. And
Mm-hmm.
then I keep the autopilot that you're a bit more used to. I keep that for the advanced classes. So guys are pretty much always doing active like sparring and drilling reps. And this week I had a bit more fun since it's like the first week. I got the guys comfortable on Tuesday with new ways to like hold elbows for each other, like getting comfortable. Like, hey, this is how you guys, and then it's just like teaching students like better ways to hold elbows for each other. Like this is how you guys go
Yeah.
position for position to find elbows. And then today's advanced class is going to be all right. You're all putting on elbow pads. We're doing like elbow drilling. We're doing some elbow sparring at the end, and like
Yeah.
keeping it like I don't think it's like calculus. We're just kind of doing stuff that we normally do. We just kind of a different of a we got a different split to it. But I got to see brand new people. Like we have new members in these classes, and they're doing stuff like body kicks well. They're focused on just like their balance, a jab, a body kick, and oh hey, let me work on this elbow right now. You know, some
Yeah.
places don't have new people doing elbows off the bat. I don't give a shit if it's your day one. We're doing elbows. You're doing elbows.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
But I remember when I first started like at Knuckle Up and at the other places before you got hometown, we didn't really do elbows that much. Um, was that like mainly because everyone was a bit
yeah.
newer, or was that like or why do you think that is?
Sorry about that. Chance was just growling at Ty. What's up, bro? I don't think she recognizes you with the hat on. She does that. Like she's all old and shit. Now if you fall asleep, she wakes up. She's like, ah, who's there? So sorry about that.
But no, I was saying is
No,
like
yeah, you were talking about we didn't do as
we
much
never really
elbows
did
at the
them that
knuckle up.
much.
That's because none of y'all were ready to do elbows yet.
Yeah,
Like the only person, so I was doing a lot of elbows with Bobby because Bobby at that time was fighting with elbows.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
And so I would do a lot of elbow stuff with him, but like you were brand new at the time. Like Hunter didn't know what kickboxing was yet. And so a lot of you guys were just kind of being introduced to I like to, and that's just me. I like to introduce people a lot of times to kickboxing with like, some clinch work first. And
Hmm.
then like I like to make sure the guys that know how to use elbows always keep using them. But it's always good to reintroduce them like every couple months.
Yeah, that's good. Over here they
I also
do.
need to teach a whole lot of Muay Thai at Knuckle Up because I was having to run someone else's boxing classes.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more like kickboxing focused than like hard traditional Muay Thai. But yeah, here at elbows is like super normal. Like people on day one will be throwing elbows on the pads, and then the Thai guys when they're sparring, like clinch sparring during the first half of class, they'll be throwing elbows, but they'll just be hitting like with their forearms against each other.
Yeah, they touch their forearms. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like the amount of hours they must have practiced to be able to do that is because they look like they're throwing hard and they're like going full sparring, like elbows, knees, sweeps, everything you would think, and they throw kicks like and stuff like that without shin pads. And so like sometimes when they're sparring, so it's so like raw and just controlled, and it's very impressive like what they do here, the way they
But
train.
like you said, the right word, controlled.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
they
super
like it's not
controlled.
reckless, man. Like I love putting videos on in the background of like people in Thailand sparring, Liam Harrison sparring. It's like almost like therapeutic because it's very intense, it's very tight, it's very fast, but it's very precise.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I sparred. I sent you that Instagram of the guy that I sparred, but and he fought in one, and he was probably the best guy I've ever sparred here. It was so
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, think about it, like and it's like you think about your experience, like you're coming up on 3 years, like
mm,
you're having to learn a lot still, man. Like you're also starting to see like, wow, 3 years compared to 13 is a big difference in like time.
yeah, yeah, it definitely is, and especially the way
Yeah,
they train here and how often they spar. Like, and I mean, we spar a lot back at hometown as well, but this was just so eye opening. Like the level system. And this dude was smaller than me too, like significantly smaller than me, and yeah, just his timing was so good. He was very elusive, like hard to hit. He would come in at the right times, and he mixed it up really well, like head, body, knees, like low kicks, and like really, really
what's up,
dug his
guys?
body a ton.
Oh, one second, I'm on.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But no, that's what was you said that he like dropped you with he dropped you with body shots.
Yeah, yeah, it was body shots. But it wasn't like the thing is it wasn't one shot that was like the hard shot that put
It
me
was the
down.
accumulation.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was the accumulation. Like teeps to the body, and they were like very accurate, just right to the sternum, like liver shots, crosses to the body, blocking with knees, and he would put everything together so well. I'd be covering up top and he'd throw something to the body. And eventually it just got so hard to like stand up and breathe. I was like, golly, man, he just putting the pressure
Yeah,
on.
so he hit you with a better version of what you already do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Like he made you feel like what everyone else feels like they spar with you, like, like you go to other gyms and they feel like exhausted and you're like, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. But now you got to be on that receiving end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what it was. What do you think was like the difference? Like, I guess it was his timing was really good, but he wasn't throwing hard. I mean, he was throwing kind of fast but controlled. It was like I
But
couldn't
that's it. He
recognize
just
it
like
with him.
he knew how to put out more than you the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it's like that perfect combination of speed, timing, resets, movement, IQ, like where you see stuff in the moment, like he'll put strikes out and he knows where his next combination is going to be open at.
Yeah.
Like your shots can still be a bit more exploratory. His are a bit more like he knows what openings he has next. That
Yeah.
difference of being a high level pro for a long time, and you're learning like your stuff now, but he's kind of like that driver that's been driving at the highest level for a long time, and you're like, shit, I can't get around this guy. But like
Yeah.
it's literally he is just the a more fine tuned version of you with more experience, and that's the people you need to be around.
Yeah. There's a lot of people like that here. This is like at least 5 or 6 guys that are training at FA Group that have fought at one championship that are preparing for fights at one. And yeah, dude, the level at this gym is super, super high. So, and just today I was hitting pads, and after hitting pads really hard for the last like few weeks, couple months, I really started to like feel my groove. I posted that short clip on Instagram. This is the first time I recorded myself hitting pads. I really felt like things were starting to click. And watching it back, I was like, okay, I can fix this. I can fix this as far as technique goes. But as far as like conditioning and getting in the flow of actually like ripping pads, it felt way better. And it's only been 2 months. I think I have 6 more months out here. The difference when I get back, I feel like is gonna be like night and day.
Yeah, yeah, like it's going to be well, you take yourself to a different level, you train at a different level, and then you know the level that you need to stay at to keep
Yeah,
getting better. You know, you'll start seeing like when you come back, you'll be like, oh man, that guy went to Thailand, but he's back to training like he was here instead of training to beat the Thais. And like
yeah,
that's one thing the Dutch have done really well, where they're like, oh no, fuck that. we're not going to go take days off. Like the Dutch have done a good job at like, oh wait, no, we're going to train at this high pace too. Like, and it's like that holding yourselves accountable and stuff like that. You'll see people come back from Thailand and they stop holding themselves as accountable.
Like
You
what?
know, where
Slipping in
you
training?
what's that?
Like slipping in training, like not training as much, or what do you mean?
Like with the intensity and stuff like that,
Yeah,
or like changing the mindset to get back in their groove from here instead of the groove they got going over there.
yeah,
Where you were already more on like a Thai training schedule before you went there. Like you
yeah,
were already committed to the 2 a days. Like a lot of people will do 2 a days for a while and then they go to like twice a week real fast.
yeah,
Where you're like, oh no, like 2 a days is like the minimum. And you know that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Oh yeah, look who's here nice and early.
What's up, man?
What up, Ty?
Good to meet
What's going on,
Yeah,
bro?
homie. How's it up? How's it been up? How's it been up there or down there or wherever?
over there.
Over
Yeah,
there.
over here. Dude, it's been really good. Yeah. Thailand's been
Oh yeah,
amazing
man.
training out here and getting better. And I'm excited to come back, bro, and see how much better you've
Oh
got.
yeah, man. I can't wait to
Uh,
spar with you. My striking's getting better, man.
I
It's
see
getting
it.
okay. It's
I
getting
see
it's
it. I
getting
see it
okay.
I see it on the Instagram videos.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he's out of school right
What up, bro?
Full agrees, like, yeah, you're probably just gonna kill Ty. It might just happen.
Let's go. Come on, Ty.
Oh, where'd it go?
We still got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here for you. So
Yeah. Heck yeah, bro. I'm excited to come back and see Ty and all the guys who've gotten a lot better. So that'll be fun, bro. That'll be fun. That's one of the main things. I was just thinking about that earlier today, like coming back and what is hitting pads gonna be like? How is everyone else gonna have improved? And like is there gonna be an adjustment period to going back to the US versus training in Thailand? Because there definitely was when I got here, like adjusting the intensity and stuff like that. But I don't think there will be, especially not as bad as it was when I got here because the intensity on hitting pads and the focus is way different in class. I feel I use my brain less. Like I'm just like more in like in autopilot versus in your classes. I feel like I'm really like trying to understand the concepts that you teach.
yeah, I mean, I'm still always gonna be working on concepts, but the big thing now, like when you come back, you'll see it a bit more of like the fundamental classes for guys like you that have experience can keep hitting like simple reps at a higher pace and speed, where the newer guys might not be going as hard, but the advanced guys like you might be throwing less strikes, but you guys can throw a lot more intent. So even though it's a bit more simple, like less advanced focus,
Yeah.
if you take the intensity you know to train at and you have the right partner, you get a lot out of it. And then the same thing when you guys go into the advanced pad rounds, where it's a bit more of like, hey, we're doing like 6 to 7 2-minute rounds. And the first 2 rounds are to get in gear. And then the last 5 are pretty much pad sparring. And you guys have to fucking kill each other a bit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good. So you split it up into rounds because I remember right before I left, it was always like one big round. So now is that what the fundamentals is, and then the advance is like broken up?
Man, I can barely hear you. Over Ty's thunderous low kicks.
I was saying is did you
Fucking stretch your hips before you start hitting the bag. Don't hit the bag cold. Tell Joe Rogan blew his knee out. Yeah, listen to the Church of Joe. Like stretch before you kick. Sorry. What were you saying, Anish?
I was saying the before I left the pad rounds are like one long 10, 12-minute round, but now what they're split up in the advanced class like into 2-minute
Yeah,
rounds.
like the
Hard.
fundamentals class is still a bit more. Right now I'm still playing with like we can still do like the long open ended. On days that we're doing combination focuses for the fundamental classes, like when we do combination building, that'll be more of a set timed round.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff, like since it was still some elbow stuff this week, I kept the fundamental class in like that long open, like 10, 12 minutes long, where you're working at a steady pace.
Oh, I see.
But then like today in the advanced drilling class, I'm gonna have the guys put on elbow pads and do a lot of like positional clinch elbow to knee rounds. And then they'll be doing rounds of elbow and clinch sparring.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. All right, that's sick. That's sick. All right,
But yeah, it'll be in the pad rounds for the advanced classes. Like I said, it'll be the hey, 2 minutes feel it, and then 5 minutes of like you're working like at fight pace.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll also be really good for conditioning, like those couple of minutes at fight pace to really get people ready for hard sparring on Saturdays and fighting, obviously.
Yeah, and we've also gotten Eric on his he's started his Monday and Wednesday morning strength and conditioning classes, and those are already going really well.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that on the schedule. I was really excited for that because right now I have Eric as like my coach for strength and conditioning programming things, but the fact that it's already just built into your schedule, that's super sick.
Yeah. And another thing that's going to be pretty dope is got some work going on in here.
Is that just like is that gonna be like a podcast room? Like an office? Like
No, I'm not. No, I'm not that invested in podcasting yet.
what is
No, this is going to be a chiropractor and physical therapy office.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Because I remember before I left,
No, it's not a walk-in freezer for body skull.
I remember
But
Dylan was talking about Dylan was talking about like a podcast studio or like a recording area, or like an office area.
well, so yeah, we were looking at doing that as like a possible, but now like we've got the back room is more like storage and where we keep our extra gear at. Like,
Oh yeah.
it would be dope to have a podcast studio, but if someone wants to pay us to put their doctor's office in here, we're gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Thanks. Damn.
but also like the general setup now of like where the front of the gym is, like that area in general is now way easier to record at. You've got more control of the lighting and it's a little bit tighter as far as like conversations are easier to have in that little corner. So that's going to be like still a place to record podcasts at.
Yeah, that's a sick little like lounge area you have there. Way bigger than the other spot. It's like a whole like dedicated area.
Oh, dude, this like everything is just bigger here, which is nice. It makes it way easier to be here all day.
Yeah.
Like some days, the old spot, I'm just like all like packed in and it's really tight. But here, I'm just like, oh, I can stand over here. I can go stand all the way over there. Oh, look at that corner. I can hang out over there. It's really nice.
Hell yeah. All right, I got a couple questions from the last week. So first one is who's a coach you look up to and like take inspiration from?
Is that in like personal life or just like a coach outside the sport?
Both. Let's do both.
Okay. I always talk about Chris Bright, who you got to meet at IKF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. Oh wait, yeah, I do. Okay, yeah. He was in the hotel
Yeah,
room.
yeah. So you
He
got
was
to
with
meet
us.
Sensei Chris, as I was calling
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I got to meet that dude, and he's the one that really helped me go, like, yeah, just make it your own thing. Like, whatever you want to get out of this is like what you should try to do.
Mhm.
And he also just came along at a really important time in my life called like 18, 19, when
Yeah.
I was just like way more like I was a huge disaster at that time. And so he did a lot for me and really got me on a good path. And he just also had a bit more of like that more like, yeah, it doesn't have to be just this way. Like you can make it work and then you can make that work for other people. And he had a unique way of putting stuff together and seeing stuff differently than other coaches did at the time.
Yeah.
And as far as coaches, let's see. I'd say like I think Bobby Knight, he was like the Indianapolis basketball coach for a long time. I might have gotten that wrong, but like he was always someone that had some really good ideas on how to make a proper team and how to speak to athletes. Other coaches out there, like I gotta say, yeah, really, like I always say, like Chris Bright is like my biggest probably like inspiration for coaching.
Yeah.
Like
I
because he
definitely saw
really
that
helped
in
me
the movie.
realize like I could like oh yeah like you can be a coach, like it doesn't matter like what has happened to you, what you're gonna do, or like what accolades like you might have or not have. Like if you want to become a good coach, like you can become a very good coach if you want to. And I was like, oh, okay. So I always got to say, as far as like coaching inspiration and influence, Chris Bright is always the dude.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that at Myrtle Beach, like the respect you had for him, and I could just tell you guys had been probably through a lot since the day you met him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was a huge asshole. Like I have no idea how he put up with me. And like he was just there for me for a lot of like weird stuff like that was going through at the time. So yeah,
Nice, nice. All right,
yeah.
the next one is what's the most memorable moment you've had coaching?
I want to say it's like man, like every moment is pretty awesome. And like all my coaching moments are always there, which is why I love it. Um, but it's a tie between um what Evan Arredondo like trained for and even went through like in 2016 at Worlds, like for him to win Worlds. And he was like I think like 18 or 19 years old at the time, or maybe 20 at
Yeah.
oldest. And like he put a lot of work in. I saw him go from like a kid that was talking about being a fighter to a kid that is like now training to be a fighter and wants to be a fighter.
Hmm.
And then seeing what he went through when he fought the kid from Mexico, like he watched his kid like knock someone the fuck out, and he was like, I don't want to do this. And then like he was having like this panic attack before he even walked out, and he was like, and I was like, and I gave him this talk that really put his head back in gear. The first round was rough, but then the next 2 rounds were perfect, and he won Worlds. And that was one of those things that it was like 8 minutes of fighting that felt like 30, because
Yeah.
like there was just so much going on, including like the build up and like being on him, the moment like we're walking out and like going into the ring and like having to be on top of it, and then seeing him come out on top, like that was very early in my coaching career too. So that's what makes it really cool. Um, and then the moment that's tied with that is cornering John Shell. Yeah.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I've got that photo up on the wall. I got to go find that photo. I'm pretty sure I got it up there. Where like John Shell, like he got knocked out in his first fight, but then
Yeah.
he gets the knockout in his second fight.
Yep.
And then Gene Kim got a really cool moment in that fight. Oh wait,
It was you
there
talking
it
to him on the
is.
stool, right? Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so
Yeah,
sick.
he was very respectful. You see who bow in the background too. And like he was very respectful of that knockout, but like it's hard to be 42 and hop into fighting, man. Like that's
Yeah.
really hard to do. Like it's hard enough to do it at 20, but he was fighting people that were younger. He trained his ass off. Like if you were in the room for that training camp, like the ass beatings he took to get to that fight were set. And he was just always like, you got it. Like, what do I need to do next? Like John Shell is as like when I see the students that he creates, I'm like, oh man, he creates students like he is. Like it's badass. And so like that really was a very special moment in coaching. And it's why John and I still have like such a tight relationship to this day.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, like those moments of like Evan and John, and those were around the same time. Like those weren't too far apart.
Yeah, like what, like 2016, 2017, like 8 years ago.
Yeah, I gotta remember the date of that fight that John knocked that guy out at. But like, yeah, I think they were within like a year apart of each other.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I remember watching that fight on YouTube, and it's funny because he knocked him out, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Both of his like fights ended via strikes. So I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
and then it was funny, like his very first fight, his first round was so good. Like he was so tight
Yeah,
behind his jab and cross and shit. And like I was like, holy shit, John looks like a boxer right now. This is cool. And the second round, he got excited and got like clipped. And I'll
yeah,
say,
yep,
even like John Shell, like when John got knocked out, it was so funny. He looks up and goes, did I win? And I'm like, John, you're sitting on a stool and you don't know where you are. Of course you didn't win. And he's like, oh well. And then he just gets up and it gets about it. Like, and he had the best attitude for that. Like that
yeah,
was really cool.
yeah. That's sick. That's sick. Oh yeah, those are good moments. Those are the only two questions I had. But yeah,
Oh, cool, man. So then I'll kind of like I'll Uno reverse that for you. Um, like, yeah, what are some like big coach influences like you've had, or like coaches, or like even fighters? Like, ooh, who are some fighter influences for you? Because I'm no fighter, I'm a coach. So who are like fighter influences for you, like in person, and people that you look up to?
dang. People I've trained with. You mean like for in person people I've trained with?
Yeah, like throughout the years, like you've done a lot of like trips and traveling and stuff like that. So who's someone like you've gotten to interact with a fighter that really helped you like change the way to look at stuff?
Yeah, well, one of the first ones that come to mind is Jack, who just went against who just competed in the Toro Cup against Christian. So yeah,
Oh, right.
Jack, yeah, because me and him started training around the same time, but I started training first. And I literally remember the first day he walked in, he was like skinny, like spaghetti arms and legs, and he was like came in with like a judo gi on and just got destroyed every single day in class. And I was like, okay, like how long is this guy gonna last? Like coming here, just absolutely getting destroyed, just like super easy to just control. And I was just thinking to myself, man, Like I know when I started and when anyone starts a martial art, it's difficult, but I remember coming back after one summer and thinking, all right, we're gonna get some good rounds in. And he was just levels above, like not just me and Vion, but like almost everyone there, especially like people that have been training the same amount of time as him. So that was really cool because I remember asking him, like, dude, how are you getting so good? And he's like, yeah, I just go in my garage and shrimp over and over and over again. I'm like, bro, it's just so crazy that anyone can get good if they're willing to put in the
Yeah,
work in
anyone can
class.
get good at this shit. You just have to be committed to doing what makes you better.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So that was probably one of the first people that influenced me as far as a student that I was training with. And then as far as coaches, it's definitely like John Shell and you. Basically my two main coaches because John Shell, when I was going through like the last year of high school and the 2020 election and the pandemic, he was like the voice of reason in my ear throughout that whole process because it was probably pretty chaotic for everyone, right? Like gyms were shutting down, the election was going on, politics was like rampant. But every day after class, him and then some of the other adults would just chop it up after class about what's going on in the world, and I would just sit down and listen. And that had a huge impact on the way I think about training, about life, about politics, about the world. Like it completely shaped my worldview because just like Chris Bright, when you were younger, around that age, like 18, 19, 20, that's when you're very like probably like lost, like trying to figure out what do you want to do, college, or where do I want my life to go. So that was a big one for sure. And then obviously you when we started meeting in Moore Square, and then you invited me to knuckle up and just like didn't ask me to pay, just said, hey, we're going back to knuckle up. Like you should come in Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was like, damn, really? Okay, like I'll come for sure. And I started coming to the Tuesdays and Thursdays for free, and then you started doing classes like every day of the week. And then yeah, that's when you and me started training, and just like that openness and willingness to invite people to Moore Square that you would train for free. Like you didn't ask anyone to pay or anything during COVID, and be like such an influence and a role model in the community that I feel like a lot of people needed at the time. I know I definitely needed it, like because jiu-jitsu was like shut down. It wasn't happening because like all the gyms were closed and like school was shut down. So I was like gonna be trapped at home all day doing nothing, or coming out and finding ways to train. And because you held that had a huge impact in my life around that same time, like 18, 19, 20. And then like the kindness and openness to invite me to knuckle up, and yeah, things took off from there. So yeah, you and John Shell.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
man, and like it shows like where people go to next. Like John's been around it as long as I have, and it's like the more you kind of just keep doing what you're doing, it'll influence others around you. And like you are an example. Like you could have been some dude that got a business degree at UNC and then like did some bullshit. Like you
Yeah.
could have been like, I mean, there's nothing like cool if that's your thing. Like go for it. But like you're doing a lot of epic shit that you might not be doing. And that's what you start seeing is like I did that like during quarantine where I was like, man, the Thunderdome's got a Thunderdome. Like we got to keep doing this. And then like you start seeing it's like if you want to do something, just do it. Like just get started. It might be really small, but you can make something really big out of it.
Yeah, because I saw your post on Instagram. I never met you. I didn't know who you were. Like you didn't know who
Let me
I.
yell at these guys real quick. All right, guys, get a jump rope. Go ahead and start skipping. It's 9:07 and Nisha and I are gabbing. All right, guys, get a jump rope. Get a jump rope. Start skipping. Sorry,
Yeah, you're good.
had
Because
to
I
be coach
remember
real quick.
you were posting on Instagram, and I didn't even know, like you never met me and I never met you either. But Sam, like Samantha Shell, told me that you're the one who introduced her and John, and you were commentating some Lightning Strikes fights or announcing them, and that's
I
when
was announcing, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sam was like, that guy right there introduced us. I was like, really? And then she was like, yeah, he's one of the best striking coaches in the area. He like has helped like John a lot. He used to help Alex a lot prepare for his fights. Alex Lockley. That's when I followed you on Instagram, and I saw those crazy videos you were posting with Talia during quarantine. You remember those?
Yeah, you got to see like the very like start of like, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's been kind of cool because I look back and like even opening this gym, it kind of feels like year one. But like you saw me at that point of like where it's like, okay, I am having to like really settle down my roots and like make myself established.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of cool getting to see like the growth from knuckle up to the next place, to the next place, to the next place, and now the freaking gym you're walking
Yeah, and
up.
you also got to see what's up, Sam. Yeah, you also got to see that. And like there's a couple people that are here. like inside the current gym. I'm just going back here in the locker room where it's a bit quieter.
Mhm.
Man, that space out there gets loud really quick. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's like you saw like that space to space to space, and like you know, people like James Wyman have seen like the mat room to the back end of a CrossFit gym for like everything else. And then I've got like, and you've met JoJo a bunch. Like
Mhm.
she knows me. Like when I was just teaching bag class, going like, yeah, I like the whole pads for fighters. Like she met me then, you know.
Yeah.
So like that's the coolest thing about the doing martial arts is you get to see people that like really random points of their lives where they're either like in like the midway point of something or like they're just getting started.
Yeah.
And then you also meet people at like the end of something, but like it's really, but you also get to realize like, you know, something's not always over. You just have to change directions with it. Like you've seen people go from like competitors to coaches in this game already. And
Yeah.
it's like the natural like growth and evolution of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yep, yes, sir. That's it. And then, oh, not to mention the fact that you had a stroke and then continued to grow the gym, continue to come in and get over that as well. To answer like the coaches that influence on me.
Oh, shit, I could barely hear like the last thing you're saying. Like the audio is really low from your end today.
Oh, you should change did you try changing the setting on your phone? Remember like last time? To like
See,
make
now I'm a fucking
it,
caveman again. I'm getting all fucking close to this thing and I'm trying to hit these fucking buttons and shit in here. Jesus Christ.
you're good. You can like make it, you can like change the settings so that way it's your speaker and not like a phone call where you have to hold it up to your ear.
Oh yeah, that's what I didn't do.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wait. Oh shit, dude.
Hello?
I've had it on like from like my
Dude,
phone
it's
like
so
thing
like
the whole
quiet.
time. I was like, why was that so quiet? Like I was like, shit. Oh man. I thought I hit that button earlier, but I hit it to turn it off. Dude, I'm so
Oh yeah.
bad at technology. Jesus Christ. Like this entire time I've been like, fuck, is my hearing really bad? Like I can't hear anything. Shit. All right, sorry. What was that last thing you were saying?
Well, I was just saying to go back to the question you asked me about coaches that influenced me. It totally slipped my mind. The fact that you had a freaking stroke, like, and then continue to grow at hometown, start your own business, and then grow into what it is now, and just you kept showing up every single day, even though I'm sure it was super hard. And so, like you said, like life will happen, and people take turns, and there's different roadblocks in the way, but you just keep going. You get to grow with your coaches and your teammates.
You literally have to work with what you got.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, yeah.
So,
Hello, young Max.
yeah.
Max
What's
just
up,
came in.
Max?
Dude, what's up? I saw your story. It looks so. Shh, no more time for you.
Max, what up, Max?
He says, "What's up?" But no, it's yeah. Aw. He said he liked your kicks. That was good.
Oh yeah, thank you. He's like my number one story liker, just likes all my stories. Like, heck yeah.
Oh no, no. Max is definitely aiming to be a niche number two.
Let's go.
He's like, I'm long. I like to clinch. All right, fine. This is what I'm going to do now. And I'm like, all right, great.
Yeah,
Like,
that's amazing. Started
like
younger than me too, so he's
what
got a lot of potential.
one leaves and another one walks in.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's right. I've just called you a niche 2.0 now. Yeah, but no, like he doesn't do that. Yeah. Oh wait, are you? Oh yeah, are you coming back tonight? Oh, okay. No worries, no rush. Like, come back in just like whenever. All right, later, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Let me get these guys going. I got to do Muay Thai class, and I got to get Ty and Sam to do some MMA. So
All
we
right,
got
brother.
everyone just doing their thing, getting ready for 9 a.m. or like as we call it, like 9-ish. The
Yeah,
the
I know how it
9-ish Muay
goes.
Thai class.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I know how it goes. All right, Trevor.
All right, dude. Well, I don't know. Take some cool photos while you're at the one fights. Very jealous. Enjoy your time. And I feel like a fucking moron for not realizing I had the phone almost on mute the entire time. So, Jesus
Yeah, you're
Christ.
good. I was
All
surprised you
right.
could hear anything I was saying because I know that's super quiet. Like,
Yeah.
really
Well, it
quiet.
just shows like how quiet this building is. Like when no one's in here, it is so quiet in here. It's nice.
Yeah, that's sick. All
All
right,
right.
Trevor.
Well, let me get these guys going, dude. All right.
All right,
I'll talk
brother.
to you soon, man.
See you, bro.